Welcome back to my market kitchen. I'm here in the Asian Inspirations kitchen. Just got the most amazing person here, Karen, who's going to show us some amazing dishes, of course.
Thank you, Charlie.
Tell me a bit about the dish.
Well, I'm cooking something that was, I think it's created for mothers who have just given birth. It's a warming dish, and if you can imagine in a cold winter, which we're about to go into, so you can have it dry to have it with congee or rice, put it on a bed of noodles, or you can add water and it becomes a really nice broth, and it's a meal on its own. So we've got chicken here. We're using chicken wings. You can use any part of the chicken, I think, except for chicken breast, because this is going to boil and boil and boil. So we're going to add the sesame oil and a whole bunch of other flavorings on that. So let's go with sesame oil.
So you sesame oil. So obviously, you know, it's a fantastic product, probably a bit of a household name here in Australia. And these sauces here, what have we got?
So dark soy sauce is a color. It just gives the color and, you know, colors everything when we are eating. Oyster sauce goes in. So it gives a deeper flavor.
Oyster sauce.
Do you know what to use it on?
I just love like
toast.
Even like toast. I just love like Chinese broccoli, garlic, oyster sauce. That's it, and it's just like that sort of sweetness that it brings out. I just find it so good.
I don't like using my fingers.
Yeah, just mix it with the spoon.
Yeah, just with the spoon.
This is a great dish as well to make at home because I think it's very economical as well. Like chicken wings, very cheap. You know what I mean? It's a great dish that like you don't have to spend a bomb to make something really healthy and tasty for winter.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this same dish, once we get cooking, you will see that it dries up a little bit more, and you remove that from the gravy. You can bunk it in the oven, and you get finger food.
Yeah.
How versatile! Okay, so we're going to leave that a moment, and then we're going to go into the aromatics. So ginger, I'm going to leave the skin on because it looks like it's been cooked. Do you skin it usually?
Depending, so like young ginger, like I will not skin it. Something a bit older, like this sort of ginger, I probably would personally, but then depending if you're just using this as an aromat in a soup, I don't think you have to. If you're going to say julienne it or something and use it fresh, then I would usually peel it,
So I'm going to just use, in the recipe it goes 5 or 6 pieces, slices. I'm going to double that because we're talking about heat and how it marries with the sesame oil to get that blood flowing.
Yeah, and this one thing I really found interesting, like I have been to China and studied a bit about the food, and I find it really interesting that like they're using ingredients almost in like a medicinal way. So thinking about ginger as something that is like, warming, as opposed to us thinking about ginger as like that's tasty or, flavoursome.
So with this recipe, I'm going to go roast it. Actually, it's going to toast it. The white parts of the spring onion, the garlic and the ginger and the star anise. And this one we're going to set aside to throw in later, as well as a garnish. So we're ready to cook.
Tell us a little bit about cooking with a clay pot, because it's something I can almost guarantee most people have not used at home.
Totally. So while we talk about that, I'm going to sear the aromatics. So you will see that there's no oil in there. And there's a reason I want it to roast to a kind of brown.
Like you're almost toasting essentially.
Like a toasting, And I'm leaving the garlic skin on because someone told me there's flavour in the garlic skin. I don't know. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I believe it, definitely.
So if you're buying a clay pot for the first time and using it for the first time, you can do 2 things. You can either soak the whole pot overnight, give it a good scrub and wash, soak the whole pot in cold water overnight. The water, when you put the pot in water, you'll see lots of bubbles on the side, and that's where the bubbles are coming out. And you want to eliminate that, otherwise it's going to crack.
It's like when people buy a wok, you've got to season it the first time. It's just understanding with the different cooking equipment how to look after it, essentially. So say, for example, when you've made this dish, would you then re-soak the pan?
No, I don't have to already.
So just do it once?
Just the once, Just the once, Okay, so we put the sesame oil in, and this is 100% sesame oil. It's important to have that for flavor, aroma, and it just makes that dish deeper.
Absolutely.
I can't describe it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like, I think, a lot of cultures use all different types of oil, but like when you're cooking a dish like this is essential. Like,
essential.
Like some people at home, you couldn't use olive oil, you couldn't use any other type. It's got to be just the best quality sesame oil. It just makes the dish.
It just makes, and you smell that it's different. We can turn the heat down now. So very quickly, we're going to put the chicken in.
Great.
Okay.
And just obviously as well, probably just something good to mention for anyone cooking at home, if you had a pot, like a similar size pot, you can do it in that, absolutely.
We can, absolutely.
So yeah, the clay pot is really going to, be the star of the show when it hits the table.
And that's right.
It looks
when we
amazing,
serve it.
yeah.
We can use it in the oven. It's a very oven-friendly dish. So up to this point, we put the lid on into the oven. I think we might also add in this so that we don't forget it later.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more dark soy sauce.
Yeah. Just got the most amazing colour, doesn't it? Just gives the most rich sort of, colour to the dish.
Totally, and that's a little bit more oyster sauce. I'm just going to add little because I want to keep that flavour with that ginger.
Yep.
And then I'll add the water in. So just...
And you need to add the Shaoxing wine, or is that at the end?
So we're going to add this towards the end and let it have a quick simmer because we want to cook off the alcohol, but leave the flavour in with the chicken.
So that's the Shaoxing wine, so you're going to add that at the end. So obviously with alcohol, and it's a dish for pregnant people, you don't want to have any actual alcohol in it.
No, we don't.
So it's all about sort of cooking that alcohol out. But alcohol in food does add a lot of flavour, across all different types of cuisines. So we'll add that in at the end and really just make sure we get it all out. All right, I'm putting the lid on.
Super.
And we're going to go pick the kids up from school.
Thanks, Charlie.
I just love dishes like this, and I think that obviously the presentation of this is epic in this clay
In this clay pot. I know, I love it too. So we're just going to turn off the heat and add in some garnish.
And that's simply it, so just a bit of spring onion on top. So the sesame oil is really the star of this dish, and it smells amazing. I can't wait to actually taste it. So now you'd literally just straight on the table, maybe with a bit of rice.
Piping hot rice, or like I said, noodle or bao buns. It's so versatile. Or if you're on a keto diet, have it on its own.
Yep.
Because there's not much saltiness in it. It's just, it's good enough as like a stew.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for showing us this dish, and I look
Pleasure.
forward to trying it in a second.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Charlie.